ago before Columbus ever was born. But
I
we
mean,
don't know what that stuff means because we don't know the culture no more. See, once they start trying to corrupt the culture and fighting a war on the culture, they can figure out how to divorce us from the land by making us forego our reading our culture and understanding our own movements as a people. Right? They have the maps of them moving the North American slave trade where they was taking us from the north, taking us to the south, telling us we from Africa. They was taking us from Louisiana to the islands, telling us we from Africa, shuffling us around like we don't know who we be. We know who we be. They just don't know. DMX told them they don't know who we be. But we know because we have various ways to communicate beyond the common measures that they gave us. They think we can only communicate by talking. I could feel a chief on the other side of the country if you want me to, if you're trying to get a message to me. And then I'll get some kind of event in the physical world to show me that he's talking to me for real and it is not my imagination.
I'm gonna go another route now. You know what I'm saying? Growing up, in information, I always used to hear the black woman is God, right? And I'm like, cool. My mom God, you know what I'm saying? My mate, my mom black. She birthed me. You know what I'm saying? And so on and so on. I see all these great things, right? You know what I'm saying? Now, fast forward to the time I got introduced to the Mama Zogbe and the Sybil, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting there reading this book, and I'm like, I had no clue what these sisters, how powerful and what they were doing, back then. So here's the question: you can, roll with it how you feel, but could you paint a picture of our original culture as being matriarch? You
Mm-hmm.
know, it going through a time frame, and then the flip happening. Okay, and we're losing and going to patriarch, and now the rise of matriarchy. Could you kind of, walk us through that, please?
Okay, so the story is best told as the story of Oshun,
Mm,
right? So when you want the backstory, that's the story you go look for,
okay.
right? Under the patriarchs, when the men take power, they supposed to take power in times of war, not
Hmm.
in times of peace, right? So patriarchy got have its purpose until it's weaponized against the divine feminine, right? And in order to weaponize the patriarchal position, you have to refuse the right of the mother to get in her rightful position in the household. This is why they trying to convince women to go out into the work world. Every woman don't want to work. Some women want to stay home and fine tune the home environment so they can create heaven on earth for their family, right? So the science of this is called feng shui, right? The women who are the matriarchs, they are often accused of having OCD, right? Because they always cleaning something, they always organizing something, primping something. That's that behavior in any other species is called nesting, right? Now
Hmm.
they call it nesting when an expectant mother is about to have a baby and she cleaned the whole fucking house up at 9 months pregnant.
Hmm.
But if she can keep it up and continue to do it, now she got OCD.
Yeah, yeah.
But what they don't understand is that process, what they call nesting, is actually her tuning her chakras and her portal, her vajayjay, into the frequency of the love energy. She's bonding with her child in the nesting phase. She can continue to bond with the child after the child is born by continuing with the nesting behavior. And
Hmm.
this is where we understand how to raise children,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
By observing the natural phenomenon, we understand that the human women normally form circles around the children as they teach them things until the boys are old enough to go out with the father into the bush and take his rites of passage to becoming a man.
Mm-hmm.
Right? In the early years, the father's, he playing with his kids like every other father, but for a period of time, he's supposed to be in the hands of the mother to get certain critical starter lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Because the pair binding that they made is for her to teach him the basics to reading and writing,
Mm-hmm.
the basics to bathing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then when she passed him over to the father, that part the father don't have to take care of now. He can start teaching him the culture, start teaching him how to live off the fat of the land, how to hunt.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
How to live off grid if need be.
Mm-hmm.
How to live in the system, how to manage money,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you know that your wife handle money better than you, if she's your wife and she really your wife and you really feel that way, she's supposed to handle the money,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you supposed to make sure that it continue to come in so she can continue to generate heaven at home. So every time
Mm-hmm.
you're not out in the getting substance from the world to return back to the nest, when you get to the nest, you got heaven on earth.
That's it.
Right? So the women are the only people on the planet that you're getting in this motherfucker through as a human.
Yeah.
You're not coming in without going through the portal of life, and it's only owned by females.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a fuck what the elemental P people say.
Mm-hmm.
Right? A woman
Yeah.
is born genetically female at birth,
Mm-hmm.
grows up, goes through puberty, learns the ways of the woman, and that's how she get to be a woman instead of
Mm-hmm.
a girl or a
Yeah.
young lady.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's just physiologically, genetically impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they chop you up and remove your mainstream pieces,
Mm-hmm.
your DNA still gonna say you're a man,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Which changes the whole understanding of what's taking place in the world.
Mm-hmm.
In order to attack the divine feminine, you have to remove the divine masculine because he will protect her to the end of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And this is what's going to call all of the tribesmen together to rally around the women when they start coming together saying, hey, they gave it back, clean it up.
Yeah. Our turn.
Yep. Unapologetically assert our position from our culture.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. If we assert our position from our culture using our traditional ways, there's nothing they can do but honor our instructions. We're going to
Indeed.
see Larry and Angel Bay soon.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know the date.
Yeah.
But I can tell you this government is in the process of transition,
Mm-hmm.
right? DC is closed. The White House closed. The Senate closed. What they call the State House, whatever the
Mm-hmm.
fuck that motherfucker is.
Yeah.
That shit closed. The Federal Reserve is closed. IRS is closed. Y'all, the people just still participating in their shenanigans. That's why people not getting their income tax check. Ain't nobody
Mm-hmm.
hardly there.
Mm-hmm. Mm. So historically speaking, you know what I mean?
She can move in ways that the rest of the pieces can't move.
The same way they did with religion.
Religion was one of their tools.
One of their tools. Same
It's
thing.
fall right under that category. Thanks, shout out to Dr. Neely Fuller for making it clear.
And we're all being played like a piece on a chessboard or a checkerboard or something. We're just being played.
So the fact that we intermarried with people from Africa on the Eastern Shoreboard for thousands of years, many of the people from the Eastern Shoreboard genetic memory gonna call them back to Africa. But all of us is not gonna be called back to Africa through genetic memory. Only the ones who have to be over there to activate a birthright. Now, some of us is going to be deceived over there and become food for wolves, or I should say hyenas. Because the false narrative, if you don't rise above that bullshit, you would be led anywhere in the world, just like Jim Jones led all them people to Guyana and had them drinking the coffee or the Kool-Aid, right? Because they had no self-identity because they was absorbed in the doctrine of the dogma of the church. So the leader of the church lead them wherever he want to lead them, straight to their own destruction. It's the same thing. You can repatriate, because a lot of people from Haitian descent is starting to wake up and feel like they need to be in Haiti, but they don't know why, because they don't know they Haitian. Haiti calling her babies back home to rebuild Haiti. Jamaica calling her babies back home to rebuild Jamaica. St. Lucia and St. Croix is calling their babies back home to rebuild. Puerto Rico and Dominica is doing the same. But we don't understand what's taking place. And a lot of the people that's being drawn back to their homelands at this time don't know that that's where they're supposed to be at the close of the age. So some of them are being deceived over there, but some of them is going because they need to get their ass back to Africa to help them reclaim their shit. I don't got no problem with nobody from Africa. They can be unapologetically African as they want, and I'm going to be unapologetically organic to this land. That's all. It's not a conflict to me. It's only a conflict to the people that want me to feel like I'm from where they think they from. Whether they right or whether they wrong is not my concern. I am aware of where I'm from. So since I'm aware, I'm going to pretend that I don't hear none of their nonsense, and I'm going to pursue what is rightfully ours as a people by exercising my blood and my right to do so. And the more clans that can benefit, the better it is for the collective. So Africa is rebuilding Africa. If we ain't watching, we don't see them reclaiming their shit, kicking colonizing powers out, closing down the mines where they've been stealing their resources and not benefiting the people of the land. All that shit coming to an end globally. And the people that's being drawn to their land need to go home. I don't care where they from. I'm at home. But the other people that need to go home is being called home by their land. They need to go. I don't care whether it's China, Japan, Australia, New Zealand. I don't give a fuck if it's Ethiopia, if it's Scandinavia. When the land call your ass, you better move or you're going to be food for the sharks. That's all. It's not nothing personal. This has to be done. Everything has to be restored back to balance for the new age to take full effect. And the benefits of the new age is a golden era. An era where we have technology unseen in thousands of years. They make us think it's new, but it ain't none of this shit new. Ain't nothing new under the sun. We done did all of this stuff we doing before. We going through all of the struggles we going through before, except before we didn't never successfully close the age, so we were stuck in the infinity loop. So we had to keep doing it over and over till we get it right. And they wouldn't let me play none of the reindeer games until now. So now I'm just going to lead y'all to the promised land.
Okay, last question. Right. What are your thoughts about interracial dating?
I don't care who you date.
Mm-hmm.
Date who you want to date. Because now, with the one drop of blood doctrine being taken full effect, we all related whether we want to be or not. All the mulattoes that so-called left the plantation, where they go? They didn't go with us. Only a handful of them went with us. The rest of them went and married into somebody else. But they still got their drop of blood. Everybody got the right to ascend. Anybody that don't belong here won't be here because the earth gonna turn them off. So I don't care what you do. So they found bones up around Philadelphia that's older than this, were like 80,000 years old. They found them in Florida. All over the land, they've been finding bones that's older than bones that they've recovered from Africa, except for Lucy. Humans is primates.
Humans are primates?
Yeah, based on genetic definition of a primate.
Based on the status that they put us in with primates?
Based on the description, okay, so you got mammals, and then the mammals is broke up into types, and then they broke up into types.
Oh.
Right? And on the mammalian hominids are under the classification of primate.
Well, if you believe in that, then you're sure you do not believe in out of Africa theory, because all that comes together.
Are you talking about the evolution from a monkey to a human?
Yeah.
I don't believe that shit.
Oh, okay, well, that's pretty much what they're saying the primate stuff is like.
No. Look, at different times, you have different upgrades to the genome. As these upgrades take hold, it alters the genome of the old species and produce a new species. It doesn't continue because the genome is no longer functional in the new system. So the current primates, though we have genetic similarities, they still not the same species. That's why we can't have sex with a chimpanzee and make a baby.
Mm-hmm.
They have to do some laboratory shenanigans to make it happen.
Why put us in the same category? Why can't humans have their own category?
They do. When you say human, you just gave us our own category.
Right, but when it's labeled out, it's like the monkeys, the gorillas, the chimpanzees.
All primate really is a hominid that uses its hands and its feet and has hair. That's it. There ain't nothing else to make it more distinctive or separate from what we is. It's just a classification for the understanding of the differences in the species across the spectrum, right? It's just like light. Yellow light is yellow light and red light is red light, but when you put all of the spectrum of lights together, you get a whole different kind of light. It don't mean that one light don't exist. It just means that when you get the whole spectrum, they're not the same as the individual pieces of the light spectrum. So look, humans didn't always stay permanently in human form during the duration of their life until they collapsed the fourth dimension into the third and locked us into the avatar. And what?
Go ride, cause go ride.
We used to incarnate. We used to use the energy in the atoms from the surrounding area to create the avatar at will and at random. The same way women used to produce parthenogenically, but over time that changed with the advent of men. If you look at the Y chromosome under electron microscope, it's just a mutated X that lost about 40% of its material. So it produces the masculine gender. This just to institute the law of opposites in the realm so we can figure out how to get out of the infinity loop. So we can go into the next age, the age of Aquarius.
I'm sorry, Rod, go ahead.
So whatever our avatars is now, we used to take on different forms when we incarnate. That's why they used to call us shapeshifters. It wasn't that we were shapeshifted. It was the function that you was coming here to perform. You took on an avatar that gave you the tools to best deal with the situation according to the environment around it. So you didn't always incarnate in what looked like a human. Sometimes you came back 90 feet tall. Sometimes you came back smaller than a ant. But it depended on what you was doing as one of the guys that determined how you would manifest yourself in the 3D realm. It was just some scientists that understood how the spirit worked that figured out if they opened a portal between dimensions, they could trap us in an infinity loop and enslave us. Because they didn't think we would ever figure it out.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you believe in reincarnation of some sort?
I don't believe in it. I know because I remember multiple past lives.
Okay. Sound like Subiacus.
And
Right, but
time.
all it is this how reincarnation works.
Okay.
The genetic sequence in your genome will align to allow the frequency to match the frequency of you at a prior time. Because it's like tuning a radio. When the genome aligns to the combination that allows your frequency in, that's when you come back into the physical realm. It's not that you're a different person. It's that your energy field is activated in a different point in time for you to add your spirit energy to the physical realm. Nationality is a admiralty jurisdiction designation. A